Stitch, originally known as Experiment 626, made his debut in Disney's 2002 animated feature Lilo and Stitch. Designed by the evil genius Dr. Jumba Jookiba, Stitch was created to be a powerful, virtually indestructible creature with a penchant for chaos. However, his journey took an unexpected turn when he crash landed on Earth and was adopted by a young girl named Lilo. From then on, Stitch began an emotional transformation driven by love, friendship, and the Hawaiian concept of ohana, family. This film arrived at a transitional time for Disney. The early 2000s marked a shift away from the traditional fairy tale model, and Stitch represented a bold departure with his alien origins, chaotic energy, and sci-fi premise. His design was inspired in part by 1950s creature features and blended with a plush, marketable cuteness that appealed across demographics. The success of Stitch merchandise, even before the film's release, confirmed Disney had tapped into a fresh and profitable new direction. In his first appearance, Stitch arrives on Earth after escaping Galactic Federation authorities. Disguised as a dog, he is adopted by Lilo, a lonely Hawaiian girl. Initially, his destructive programming makes it difficult for him to adapt, but Lilo's persistent belief in ohana slowly changes him. When he ultimately saves Lilo from the villainous Gantu, Stitch earns his right to stay on Earth under Lilo's guardianship. The Hawaiian setting was a deliberate and meaningful choice by Disney. It offered a unique cultural lens rarely explored in mainstream animation and emphasized themes of family, community, and personal healing. The watercolor backgrounds, a rare technique at the time, enhanced the film's warmth and intimacy. Stitch's emotional arc paralleled Lilo's struggles with grief and social rejection, creating a nuanced portrayal of connection through mutual healing. Stitch's popularity led to several playful cameos. In Treasure Planet 2002, he appears as a plush toy on a shelf. In the outtakes of Brother Bear 2003, he auditions comically for the role of an Alaska marmot but is swiftly rejected. These appearances reflected Stitch's rapid rise in popularity within Disney's character roster. The cameos were not merely humorous, they functioned as low-risk cross-promotional tools. By integrating Stitch into other universes, Disney tested the waters for character crossovers and built familiarity, which laid groundwork for future shared universe storytelling strategies. In this direct-to-video sequel, Stitch struggles with feelings of loneliness as he fails to connect with others due to his unusual appearance. This film introduces the idea that Stitch is not alone. He discovers Jumba's other 625 experiments in dehydrated pod form. After rescuing Jumba from villain Dr. Hamster Viel, Stitch inadvertently releases the experiments, setting the stage for future adventures. The movie served as a narrative and structural bridge to the upcoming TV series, with a tone and pacing designed for serialization. Experiment 221, who plays a pivotal role in the climax, introduces the central motif of redemption that would define the upcoming episodes. The concept of Stitch having cousins transformed the franchise into a versatile format with room for continuous reinvention. This animated series follows Stitch and Lilo as they capture and rehabilitate the newly released experiments. Each episode focuses on a different cousin, turning them from chaos causers into helpful members of society. Stitch's strength often makes him the first line of defense, while Lilo focuses on their rehabilitation. The show introduces key characters like Angel, Experiment 624, Stitch's love interest, and rivals like Experiment 627. The show borrowed from popular Monster of the Week formats like Pokemon and X-Files, but infused with moral lessons rooted in emotional intelligence. Each experiment represented a specific social or psychological theme: forgetfulness, anger, overeating, etc. Culturally, the series continued integrating Hawaiian traditions, customs, and folklore, enriching young viewers' understanding of a non-Western society while promoting empathy, resilience, and family values. Set between the original film and Stitch, the movie, this sequel reveals that Stitch wasn't fully charged at creation. As a result, he experiences violent glitches and destructive episodes, resembling a seizure disorder. Fearing he might hurt someone, Stitch tries to leave Earth, but is eventually saved by Lilo's unwavering love, reinforcing the central theme that love is stronger than even death. This sequel was more emotionally intense than its predecessors, dealing with themes of medical trauma and the fear of losing control. Jumba's scientific explanation about molecular instability leaned into science fiction territory, but also served as a metaphor for chronic illness. Stitch's journey through guilt, self-isolation, and eventual salvation added psychological depth to a character previously viewed as comedic relief. This short bridges narrative gaps by exploring Stitch's genetic makeup. It reveals he was engineered with DNA from some of the galaxy's most formidable creatures, and even a bit of Jumba's own intellect and looks. One of the DNA sources was a puppy, explaining Stitch's dog-like appearance. The short deepened the lore while maintaining humor, especially in the reveal that Jumba gave Stitch some of his own traits. It also hinted at a more existential relationship between creator and creation. The inclusion of predatory animal DNA provided biological justification for Stitch's superhuman traits and aggressive instincts, tying the science fiction roots of the series back into character development. The saga reaches a climax in this movie as Stitch and friends have successfully found homes for all the experiments. The Grand Councilwoman offers Stitch a new role as captain of the Galactic Armada. He initially hesitates but is encouraged by Lilo. When the villain Hamsterviel creates Leroy, a more dangerous red version of Stitch, Stitch teams up with the redeemed experiments to defeat him. The story ends with a reaffirmation of the importance of family. As the capstone of the original arc, Leroy and Stitch celebrated the franchise's themes with scale and spectacle. The mass team-up of all 624 experiments was both a payoff and a farewell. Lilo giving Stitch the sea tiki necklace symbolized spiritual strength and trust. Leroy, who lacked any capacity for growth or connection, served as a grim contrast to Stitch's hard-earned empathy, underscoring the value of emotional evolution over raw power. In this Japanese adaptation, Stitch crashes on Izayoi Island near Okinawa and meets a girl named Yuna. He discovers the Chitama spiritual stone, which can grant him any wish if he performs 43 good deeds. Initially motivated by selfish desires, Stitch ultimately decides that friendship is more important than power, choosing to stay with Yuna instead. The anime format transformed Stitch visually and thematically. The animation adopted sharper lines and exaggerated expressions characteristic of Japanese anime. Thematically, the series emphasized social harmony, community engagement, and spiritual reflection. Stitch's moral dilemmas aligned with Japanese storytelling archetypes, imperfect protagonists striving for redemption through deliberate action. This series sees Stitch kidnapped by aliens who want to exploit his destructive programming for war. He escapes and crash lands in China, befriending a girl named Wang Ailing. The series explores Stitch's darker capabilities and showcases a dramatic transformation when his programming is triggered. However, the focus remains on his personal growth and the strength of new friendships. Designed specifically for the Chinese market, this adaptation featured local mythology, language, and customs. Stitch's bond with Ailing mirrored his earlier relationship with Lilo, but framed through Confucian values such as filial piety and communal responsibility. The backdrop of galactic conflict added geopolitical allegory, positioning Stitch as a potential weapon turned agent of peace and compassion. Stitch has continued to appear in various forms across Disney media. In The Lion King, 2004, his silhouette is seen in a theater scene. In Big Hero 6, 2014, he appears as a cat costume and as a pillow on Fred's bed. He also makes appearances in Baymax, 2022, Once Upon a Studio, 2023, and Wish, 2023, showcasing his enduring legacy. These cameos served as quiet affirmations of Stitch's place within the Disney pantheon. By maintaining visibility through minor appearances, Disney preserved Stitch's relevance across generational gaps. Once Upon a Studio was particularly notable, assembling the entire animated canon and reinforcing Stitch's status as a fully integrated and beloved icon. In this live-action musical film, the protagonist Nate auditions to play Stitch in a Broadway adaptation of Lilo and Stitch. The film features scenes from the original movie and ends with Nate performing in full Stitch costume, emphasizing the character's theatrical and cultural relevance. Here, Stitch becomes a symbol of identity, performance, and dream chasing. The narrative parallels between Nate and Stitch elevate the character from cartoon to cultural metaphor. His inclusion in a theatrical context emphasizes Stitch's transcendence beyond the screen, into stage, memory, and inspiration. Stitch returns in a live-action CGI remake of the original film, once again voiced by Chris Sanders. The remake preserves the emotional heart of the original story while giving Stitch a more realistic look suitable for modern audiences. The film aims to introduce Stitch to a new generation while honoring longtime fans. With the resurgence of Disney live-action remakes, the 2025 Lilo and Stitch stands out due to its heavy reliance on CGI to bring Stitch to life. Early responses to casting and trailers suggest cautious optimism. Retaining Chris Sanders as Stitch's voice provides continuity, while modern effects aim to enhance emotional immersion. Special care has been taken to represent Hawaiian culture authentically, avoiding past pitfalls seen in other adaptations. Stitch's evolution from a destructive alien experiment to a symbol of love and family has spanned over 2 decades. Through multiple films, TV series, international adaptations, and cameos, Stitch has become a global icon. His story resonates across cultures and generations, reminding audiences that anyone, no matter how flawed, can find belonging through love and ohana. And that wraps up the incredible journey of Stitch, from a chaotic experiment to a global icon of love, family, and redemption. Which version of Stitch is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Stitch's evolution, be sure to give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more character histories, Disney deep dives, and animation retrospectives, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. And remember, ohana means nobody gets left behind or forgotten.